welcome to Closet Conversations. Today I want to talk to you about the Poshmark Love It or List It challenge that's going on right now. This is something that they do periodically to encourage people to put new inventory on their site. But this time they've done something very different. They've upped their game to where for 30 days they're asking people to list up to 15 items a day. And each day, I think there's a $50 prize for a winner that they pick from the number of entries. You get one entry for each item that you list on the site, each new item. And then at the end of the week, they're giving away an iPhone 11. And this is going on for 30 days. And I think the reason they've chosen 15 as the number, because I'm pretty sure that's the number at which algorithms kick in and things become more favorable for you in terms of people seeing your listings. And also because 15 is I think a stretch for most people, but not so much of a stretch that you can't do it. So what I've been doing is I've been participating in the challenge, and the way I've been handling it is I clearly have 15 items a day that need to be listed. So I wanted to push myself, and I love a contest, and I've won so many contests in my life, and I've never been afraid to enter something or try to win something. So I'm motivated by things like this. So each day I have listed 15 items. I haven't listed more than that, but I did the 15 that count toward the contest. And how I did it was each morning I identified the 15 items that I wanted to photograph, and I would photograph them before I went into my consignment shop. And in the evening when I got home, I would take the items out of the draft section of Poshmark and finish the draft and push them up into the system. So I've been doing that. I guess this is day 3. So here I have behind me the 15 items that have to be pushed up by tonight. And what I love about this is that I have been meaning to list a bunch of stuff. And this is giving me a wonderful incentive to do something I need to do anyway. And so a lot of times, we think about how people are motivated, either internally or externally. So I'm very externally motivated. So like when I want to clean my apartment, I'm like, what friend can I invite over to visit me? Who can I invite to dinner at my place? Because I am never more at cleaning than it is when I know somebody's coming over to visit or to come by. So I'm externally motivated, and so it is what it is. So I like a challenge like this. So what this is going to help me do is I have this very large collection of Moschino, and most of it is listed, but there are pieces that aren't listed. So it's helping me do something I needed to do anyway, which is go through and see which pieces aren't listed and go ahead and get them up there. So that's great. And then it's forcing me to list a bunch of inventory that's been sitting here unlisted. And some of the inventory is kind of buried within things that are listed. So I have to dig them out. And then it's going to give me an opportunity to freshen up old listings where I have changed my photography style and I've been needing to fix them anyway. So it's a win-win all over. Poshmark gets their 15 listings times 30 days per person, and they've got 5 million sellers, a lot of new listings if everyone were to participate. And it makes me motivated to do some of the stuff I've been meaning to do anyway. So I love it. And I think it's important to get into this habit. And I had talked about in an earlier podcast about adding some structure to my day. And this is one way to do it. 15 listings a day, end of story. And I think that if I can get into the habit of doing something like this, this is going to be beneficial for everything. So this is 15 listings on Poshmark. Now, if I can also push those 15 listings to eBay as well, which I have not done for these last 3 days, then that's really being productive, using the List Perfectly software, which I have spoken about in a different podcast. And If you've not tried List Perfectly, it is a cross-posting software, and I've got a 30% off code for your first months. And it's just month to month. There's no long-term commitment. That code is available. You can get that code. It's not really a code. It's a link. It's a link to List Perfectly, where you can get 30% off and your first month. So that link I have on my Instagram. If you go to the link tree there, it's right at the top, and you should be able to find it there. Also put it a few other places, like on underneath in the description of videos where I talk about them. It's there. So, and I'll make sure I put it here. But definitely try them out, because being able to get 15 listings up a day on multiple platforms would truly be a game changer in terms of creating a system that is sustainable, that's achievable, and that's going to help the bottom line. What I'm not doing is including measurements. That is something that I long to do. I long to put measurements in all my listings. Instead, I just say ask for measurements to ensure fit. And then as people are interested in the item, I go back and supply the measurements. And that is one thing that, in terms of listing, that everyone should think about putting the measurements in if they're not already, because it makes people stop and have to ask questions instead of being able to determine if something will fit them in the moment. And that point at which they have to wait on you, a lot of people won't ask, they'll just move on. And so I know it's something I should be doing, and I'm not doing it yet. So that's on my list for this year and getting organized. So in the meantime, I would rather get 15 listings up immediately, or at least daily, that don't have measurements, than to try to put that in at this juncture. I'm just not used to putting that many things up a day. So as it gets easier for me, then perhaps I will consider that. We'll see. We'll see. So yeah, if you're not doing the Poshmark challenge, you should. Now, they do a number of contests. I've won several times on these listing challenges or sharing challenges, whatever else they have. And or like they do challenges for markdowns, like offer to likers, or they'll have price drop challenges and things like that. And so I've won at least 4 times since they've done those, and that's always great, because every time I just buy some off the site, as one does, and so it's really fun. And the last time I won, I used the money for buying, I think I won $100, and I spent like $90 on a pair of amazing Moschino gloves, so I was happy to get them. But anyway, that's just a little something I wanted to talk about, is the Poshmark Listing Challenge. Be sure to participate. These kinds of things really help push your items up in search. It helps get energy into your closet. It helps people who follow you know that you have new merch, because that little circle, you'll come up, it'll say closets with like new inventory, and then you will be at the top of their feed. And so this is how people get more sales when they do more listings, is that in terms of Poshmark, is your items obviously are higher in the feed, but then your followers get that notice, and that's where oftentimes people will click on and go, oh, hey, she's got something new, let me go check it out. So it's a win-win for all involved. And that's it, just short and sweet. I will let you know how I do on the challenge. If I did it every day, and believe me, this is it's going to be easy where I can just grab it and put it up there. But when I have to start digging for stuff, that's going to slow me down a little bit. So we'll see. And my challenge also is to not buy anything new for this challenge, just to list what I have. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. There's no way I'll run out of stuff, because I have plenty. But if I were to run out of stuff, I would simply re-photograph and repost something that's up. And usually when I do that, it sells, because things really do get buried in the feeds. I mean, can you imagine 50 million sellers? And if the average person, let's say, had 100 listings, that's what, 500 million listings? How are they going to find yours, right? So that's why all of this, I mean, they've never told us the number of listings, which would be really, really good to know, right? They tell us number of sellers, number of registered users, but they never tell us really like how many listings we're competing against, because I think if we knew, we would be like, there's no way. So we don't have a way of knowing, but you can imagine there are probably hundreds and hundreds of millions of listings, and so you've got to imagine that, and you've got to do everything possible that they recommend to stand out, I think. And so supporting your listings on social media, talking about them on a podcast, to, doing the listing challenges or the price dropping challenges, following people, all of that is important. And it's just the way Poshmark is set up. For right or wrong, that's their system. And so as long as I'm selling within it, I want to do what they say. And believe me, I cannot wait until they open up the foreign markets, because when they're global, and that will happen, that's the game changer. And you got to be ready for that. I've got over 1,000 listings in my closet, and right now my goal is to make those the best 1,000 listings I can. Take down things that I don't want in there, rephotograph things that need photographing, and make it just a kick-ass, yeah, I said it, 1,000 listings, so that when that Canadian market opens up cross-border, I'm ready. And you just got to get ready, and then, build a field, and they will come. And that's it. This is Jennie Walker with Closet Conversations. If you want to check out my Poshmark closet, it's Jennie Girl's Closet. And you got to spell it right. Jennie, Girl's Closet. Actually, Jennie Girl's Claws. Actually, there's no ET on it. Just Jennie Girl's Claws, because they don't have enough symbols on Poshmark. Jennie Girl's Closet is the whole word on Instagram. Check out my website, Jennie Girl's Closet, and definitely sign up for my new reseller newsletter. I'm just formulating it now, still drafting that first newsletter. Definitely would love to have you as a member of that list. It is now accepting that information on my website at JennieGirlsCloset.com, or you can email me on Instagram, and I can add you that way. And that's it. Thanks again. This is Jennie Walker with Closet Conversations. I look forward to having you with me on a future episode. If you like the song you heard in the beginning, it's called Black Cat, performed by Jennie Walker and written by Jennie Walker and Tommy Farragher. It's available on iTunes worldwide.